related to her. It's have a big deep down in it. All the box all along the arm. Actually, no, I was to like her out, maybe take me into the spot. Most of out, like, do you know for me? If she's in continue, it's ready. I don't know what right, so what are that? It's something the whole things. It's all like around, but I'll feel it. Whoa. He's dirty. Yeah. You sound good. And now that's other flower. And no, this other lady on shelf like a what? One morning, something broke was treating you the she can't do past corruption available. Jesus name them to reaching someone choosing. How will you be trouble to choose fortunes? There's some shit. Which one taking a minute to talk about Larry stuff, my career change, should I say. Larry and I have been working together for like the last 12 years now. And anything I've ever needed as far as recruiting, training, Larry's been right there. Larry's got me salespeople, he's got me managers, he's got me technicians, even to the toughest times in the industry. And he is just the kind of guy who's going to tell you exactly what's on his mind. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks. But Larry also has the expertise to back it up. I mean, in the dealership world, he's a top performer. And that's really important to my staff, especially as it pertains to training. A lot of people can come in and teach out a textbook, but Larry has real world experience dealing with customers, dealing with situations in dealerships that we go through on a daily basis and train on. Larry's been through it, so he can really empathize with the people and tell you what's worked for him and maybe what way not to go. Larry is just always at a 10. I mean, his energy level is always out there. And I think people, they just love that and they feed off of it. He's not faking it. He is genuinely excited to come in and help you. He's excited to come in and help grow your business. And he's one of those people who just really enjoys seeing dealers succeed and have a lot of fun at the same time.
Right. Life is about connection. Having a support system to lean on. And roads to endless possibility. At every turn, guiding the way, we are building the connections that move you.
So what would your dealership feel like if your entire sales staff was literally on fire, your sales and service staff? They were nonstop all over social media, completely dominating your marketplace. They could do it in 30 days or less, and they continue their education for an entire 6 months or a year. You literally would completely take over the entire marketplace, and no one would be able to compete with you. And that's what we can do for you. So when you're walking around your community, whether you're at local restaurants or you're going to the gym, you don't want to be bothered? Fine, you won't be bothered. But a lot of people will walk up to you and say, oh my God, I love your social media. Your staff is amazing. We love what you're doing in the community. We want to come buy a car from you. We want to get an oil change at your dealership. Your community absolutely going to love you. And it doesn't matter what platform you're on. You should be on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all social media platforms. You will literally be all over the place. And not only will you have ads in it, but your own staff is going to be promoting your brand and promoting themselves within the dealership and within the business. So it's like running an ad is kind of 100-fold because your entire staff is participating in the process. I've traveled all over North America. I've trained Toyota. I've trained Nissan. I've been driving sales. I've been swimming in auto. I get hired as a speaker for conferences at universities all over the country. I can help change the trajectory of your dealership right now.
There we go. Good morning and welcome. So I picked a few books. There's a lot of books on negotiation, shockingly. Getting the yes, negotiating agreement without giving in, the art of negotiation, how to improvise agreement in chaotic world, and everyday negotiation. So there's a few, and that's our new 4-season logo. So go ahead, Mr. Jeff, with our disclaimer.
Do I have to?
Yeah, you kind of do.
Larry, fair. The name of the opinions expressed on the AutoHub show are those of our guest speakers and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the AutoHub show, Ian Nethercott and Jeff Olo, or any associated agency. Please read the rest on there.
Fantastic. So the show today is There's Always Wiggle Room in Any Negotiation, or the Negotiation Show. So let's get into it, Mr. Jeff. Go ahead.
So, negotiation used to be a great art in the automotive industry. We used to call ourselves negotiators. Everybody I know in the car business says, yeah, I'm a professional negotiator. Well, in the last 3 to 4 years, we've been professional arm crossers. The way it is, I will use my accent. And if you want it, do it. We couldn't broadcast the opening video, but it was on LinkedIn. Somebody posted it where somebody went in to buy a car for their daughter. Wonderful experience. Or, kind of nice getting a $30,000 car as your first car at 16. And, the dealer kind of made it such a great thing, saying, by the way, you have to buy this, you have to buy that. And this is the way the rules is. The interesting part of the video is, if you ever see it, that didn't, is they actually recorded the sales link. So I'm very interested to see where somebody's going to come up about some, violation of their rights by recording it. Everybody in the car business everybody in the business associated with this looked like what everybody expects. So like the manufacturer looked bad, the parent company of the group looked bad, the dealership looked bad, and in the end, we look bad, period. So having us discuss what the heck we're going to do with negotiation, we have some guests. We have our good friend and representative of our lovely sponsor, CDK. By the way, that CDK's click is like right out of the Super Bowl, man. We feel really important. Great, we've introduced everybody. We have I'd like to answer this question. What really is negotiation?
Well, first of all, thanks everybody. I work for CDK here in Western Canada. And then, yes, if I were to say, in my opinion, what is negotiation? My customers are not car customers. My customers are car dealers. So, I've read all the sales books and put a couple of them up. You really have to have a give and a take to have a negotiation. Otherwise, it's just an offer to buy. I think that I recall back to my day when I bought it Saturday. Here's the sticker price. There's no dicker sticker, so to speak. A negotiation needs to have a two-way exchange of value. And if the person buying the product or service is getting extra value for extra cost, they'll see the value. But we've had this industry that's built up over the last, call it 100 years, where we're willing to be bendable and flexible on the price. And I think on a new unit, people have grown accustomed, to your point, Jeff, of, the inventory is the inventory, the unit is the unit. But with pre-owned vehicles, there's always going to be whatever the market will bear. MSRP is irrelevant. So I don't think we can ever get away from negotiation. But I think that, the clip earlier, where our industry isn't doing itself any favors either. So I think we've gone away from that fair exchange of good value back and forth.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and we got away from that, and then all of a sudden, I'm sure that same dealer now who's got 37 Hyundai Elantra sitting there unsold and unspoken for is all of a sudden dropping the mandatory this, the mandatory that, and looking at what to do, but nobody knows how to do it anymore.
Well, in Canada, we have the dealers have gotten around the MSRP issue by adding a package, adding a dash cam, adding a window package, adding a bus module, whatever. In the United States, though, those dealers that were putting $10, $20, $90,000 over MSRP, they call them market adjustments. Well, they're the ones that are not only are they not able to get rid of their inventory at MSRP, but customers that bought those vehicles at 30K over, they're never going to go back there. They're going to be upside down forever. And they're going to tell all their friends. I think that fair negotiation benefits everybody in the long run. If you're too short-sighted, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering what my favorite topics is dealers that have sushi bars and nail salons, etc., where they're going to have one of those credit counseling offices in there instead, but all those people that are upside down and tell them to walk away and in 6 months come back and buy a car. Our next guest is being very shy, so we will wait till he comes on camera. And I got to actually turn to Peter and ask his opinion because Peter Smith is obviously one of our regulars. And Peter, say hi. What the heck? Introduce yourself and answer the question, what really is negotiation?
You are muted. You're still muted.
There you go. There you go. But it is Peter Smith, but the managing partner of Line Partnership. We assist dealers in recognizing challenges and helping them get by it. So first thing, this is a great topic, and I wrote quite a bit about that video and posted it everywhere, and just from a point of awareness of it is still happening, and 9 times out of 10, the stakeholders are unaware that it is actually happening in their dealership. They're busy looking at the statement, not in the actions that are happening in the dealership. So, having said that, negotiation. Well, the challenge with negotiation is everyone believes it has to take place. It doesn't. In the United States, they are moving more to a one-price model based on market demand and market acceptance. They have all the software that gives them the information, and there is no need for negotiation if the vehicle is presented properly. What we have to do with our clients is very simple. Show value that exceeds the price. That's it. Negotiation is over. If you can provide value that exceeds the price, we are there. Does Apple negotiate? No. Does Tesla negotiate? No. We can go through a whole rack of companies out there. They don't negotiate. Why? Because they present value over price. And that's simple as that. And that's something we have to look into.
Well, some very big.
Go ahead.
Who's speaking?
Just you.
It's a very interesting thing that you put that. I always find negotiation is we always said it was more than just price. I always trained my salespeople with that. It's posturing. If you look up negotiation, somewhere in the definition is posturing. And the one price thing is a very good thing. Personally, I'm a little bit concerned. Which will lead right into Ian's next question. What happens? Where do we go from here with this whole thing, Ian?
Well, I think really at the end of the day, as we've said many times in the negotiation side of things, we always got to get back to basics. But also, I think we need to read a few books on maybe how to get better at negotiation. It is funny that you bring that up because I actually took a negotiation class as part of my MBA a couple of years ago. And the gentleman who taught it is a lawyer out of Toronto who does international negotiations with teams. And part of the learning in the class, even though it was a pretty entry-level class, in my opinion, was that it's not just how you negotiate, it's the team you work with. He'd be in situations, say, all over the world where he had a team of people working with him. And his biggest challenge wasn't the negotiation. It was the people on his team, some of which would make the negotiation impossible just because they made errors. So part of it is that, but also part of it is how you negotiate. When I sold cars, I used to negotiate based on payments, not based on price, knowing full well that 80% of customers were making a payment. So that's the way I used to do it. But I think you've got to also trust in your team. So if you're working with a sales manager or general manager or a lease manager or a finance manager, whatever that may be, you have to have a very tight relationship with your team, but also you have to ask questions around what motivates the customer. Very similar to when you hire someone today, it may not be about money. It may be about what they want in that job personally that may not be money. And I think that's also something that we need to discuss based on generations today. But I digress. Is negotiation necessary in 2024 as we look at automobiles? I know that it's been something that has been shifting, but go ahead, Mr. Larry.
Hey, Ian, it's Larry.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can't see my image. I'm in a strange rental car here in Florida.
A strange rental car in Florida. Shocking. Yeah, go ahead.
Strange rental car. 2 points that you said that I'm going to take just a slight issue with.
Okay, sure.
On you said maybe they need to read some books. How about maybe they have some damn conversations with people?
Yeah.
Because the communication skills of most people and most salespeople is so lacking, it's a little scary. And the second thing is, the only reason I take issue with the team is I have some really, really bizarre managers, difficult guys, throw them out. And I still found a way to sell a whole lot of cars and make a whole lot of money. I think if you understand that you start closing a deal and you say, hello, welcome to, if you look people in the eye, if you smile, if you actually listen to them, if you can engage them in a conversation and genuinely care, not only is it easy to negotiate, negotiations get easier because everybody knows we buy from people we like and they're willing to pay a little more to people they like. But I think negotiation will never go away, right? And when Saturn was out, people would come into my Cadillac store and say, why don't you do a no haggle? I say, no problem. There's a list price. You pay it. I'll write it up. Not a problem at all.
So Larry, I'll add on to that. You touched the point. Negotiation is also all about listening. And we have to listen to understand, not just to hear. And if we listen to understand and we listen to what our customers are saying to us, we'll know what direction to engage them with our process. Do you not agree?
Yeah, but it's even more than that. How about just getting them to like it? How about liking them? For some odd reason, a lot of salespeople resent their customers. What does he want? How about understanding these people are feeding it? The dealer's the middle guy handling the money, but it's your customers that pay. And if you're not happy and not willing to let somebody that's helping you feed your family, I think you need to get your perspectives right. I was never a car aficionado. I still don't know a lot about cars compared to a guy like Ian or Jeff. But crazy as I am, people seem to like me, and that's aided me in doing whatever I'm doing. And I don't think people put a whole lot of stock today into being likable or communicating. It's just think of the last time you're in a restaurant and saw 4 people at a dinner table, all on their iPhones, not looking at each other.
Yeah, I mean,
wait a minute. That was last night.
We have a comment. We have a comment from LinkedIn. Special thanks to Stephen Appersella. One price or negotiated price are both price driven. Does the experience of your product or service clearly and intuitively surpass the commoditization aspect of price alone? It's 2024. The desired experience of a product or service is what customers want before and after the sale. Go ahead, Jeff.
So I'm very thankful, Stephen. I figured out, Jeff, before you that one.
Go ahead, Troy. Sorry.
I was just going to say, right after the show, can we get Stephen drunk and make him pronounce and spell commoditization? And for you to say. Sorry, Troy, go ahead. Like I said, I know what Larry got the show on. To be honest, I worked tomorrow. We can negotiate on that, Troy. We spent most of our time, I thought. And that's not negotiation. I know it's what price or nothing. I worked the road project for 22 years. And the reason why there's different levels of hotel is because people are willing to pay different prices for more value or what they feel is important. So to use what Peter said, the customer see the value. To use what Larry said, they have to enjoy the experience. To use the belief that commentator said,
it's all about experience. And I will pay more to go to a dealership than I'm going to get a really nice experience, a good cup of coffee. So jokes aside, Jeff, have a sushi lunch while my car is getting fixed. Some people will pay for that. They'll pay the extra dollar because the experience is better. And I think that's okay as long as that value is there. The problem, I think, really is that there's a perception with consumers who are not savvy in the car world. They might buy 2 or 3 or 5 cars in their whole life. They just know there's this, they believe, that there's this egregious gross profit bubble that they need to take a chunk out of in order to feel good about the car. And again, when you go in and say, well, take $2,000 off this car and I'll take it, and you say yes, well, all you're doing is perpetuating that, right? So I think that it's all about value. Both what Peter and Larry said, it's about the experience, it's about the value of people. Are you willing to pay for what you're getting? Do you feel like you're getting what you pay for? You walk out of there with a smile on your face, feeling good about it, and yeah, money will spend.
Well, on that note, and this is something I talk about quite often when I'm in front of teams, is price is a challenge in most people's mind, but it actually isn't. I ask every single team I'm in front of, what's the cheapest hamburger you ever bought? And I know the answer right off the bat is the $1. Everyone says
$1.
Wow. And I ask, what is the most expensive hamburger you've ever had? And that ranges anywhere from $50 to $100, depending on the demographic I'm in front of. I said, what does a hamburger do? It provides you calories to fuel your body so you can move about. So if you know that you can buy something for $1 to do the exact same thing as a $15 or a $25 or a $50 hamburger, and you know that where to get it, why are you not just doing that? If you are price driven, nobody is price driven. People are experience driven. And once you get that experience that you find value in, you will do it because that's your want. It's not your need, it's your want. They were driven by wants, not needs. That's what pushes us forward in life. If we were just looking for needs, we'd all live in a 1,000 square foot house. If we were all looking for needs, we'd all drive Honda Civics and Toyota Pros. We want things, and that's what drives us. So, and understanding that in the negotiation is supplying those wants with value. If we could give them the value that they see in their wants, then negotiation is eliminated. And if we do it by listening first, understanding what the customer's needs are, understanding what their wants are, and how to obtain them, we eliminate the negotiation process. And that's where the one price model is going to go into that.
But then having said that, Peter, I mean, what's your thought on the upper limit there? So let's just say you're comparing Toyota Corolla customer to a Lexus entry-level customer to a Rolls-Royce customer. Do you believe at that high level of the experience that there is an upper limit, or do you think that's all an illusion?
It's all an illusion because you're talking about affordability. You're not talking about limits. It's affordability. So if someone's looking at a BMW or Mercedes, or they're looking at a Porsche or a Ferrari, or they're looking at a Rolls-Royce, or they're looking at a Hyundai Kia, they all are there because that is their budgetary limits where they see them. And when you listen to those and you go through a full buyer's discovery, that is absolutely essential. When you're talking to a new customer, it involves you actually listening to understand what their needs and what their wants are and accommodating them from those parameters.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. I was talking to a friend of mine in the Vancouver market last week. So he happens to be a Mercedes customer currently, but he's been very upset with his current service on his Mercedes and is now even trying to reach out to the guy who runs Mercedes And I said to him, I said, okay, so let's just say you can't get a resolution to your problem. Are you going to switch brands? And he said, yeah, probably. And I said, well, what brands are you looking at? And he said, well, I'm probably not a Toyota guy. I'm probably not a Honda guy and whatever. And I said, so you may switch from that Mercedes German brand to another luxury brand. But really, when it comes down to it, I think it's more than just price. I think it's about personalities. I've thought this for many years, that certain people's personalities are attracted to certain brands. Now, they may move in that ecosystem of high-end import or high-end domestic or high-end or mainline car, but I think it's more than just price and experience. It's about what brands they'll even consider. Because I think it takes a lot to move people from brand to brand. I think it takes a lot. Like, you really have to piss that person off.
You'll never get a BMW driver to drive a Lexus. It's an impossibility. Even though that they're both equally great cars, you'll never have them do it. You will have a Mercedes guy go to a Lexus, but you'll never have a BMW guy go to a Lexus. Because they're different personalities. And that's absolutely agree. So your guy with the Mercedes, and the other side of that is the experience level. If he's looking for experience, he could possibly will be walking into hornet's nest, because you have to look at the experience of the dealership as a whole. Like, if you're going from BMW or Mercedes to BMW to Audi, look at the problems behind your cars and see what the actual owner satisfaction is. Because they're not that different right across the board.
Right.
From the JD Power's last thing on the dealership experience, problems per 100 cars from the top to the bottom was, I think the differential, the delta was 1.7 problems per 100 cars.
Interesting. Larry?
So,
Larry had some thoughts. Go ahead, Larry.
It's I'm listening and I agree, but I also think if you can show people a reason and go with a smile, I know people that have gotten out of BMW. Remember, I've been tied in with leasing companies in my own dealership, and I've seen people recently jump out of BMWs and Mercedes to get into a Genesis. Now, of course, 10 years ago, they tried this with the XG350 Hyundai. The car was not good. Nobody was excited. But once again, it depends on your relationship with the customer. If you can make a customer like you and trust you, maybe you can get them to be a little bit more flexible. And certainly there's people that only want the day one, right? There's guys that it doesn't even be high level. There's guys that are Ford true and true, guys that are Chevy true and true. But like with everything else, if we put insurmountable obstacles in front of us, we're going to be insurmountable. But if we look at and remember the statistic that 4 out of 5 people come into a dealership and get something other than what they planned to, that shows there is a little bit of flexibility. But not when we're not listening, we're not pleasant, when we don't look like we have a good idea or a good alternative or a good narrative. I'm just real big on making this fun. If they come in and they expect us to be rotten, horrible people, isn't that a huge opportunity? Because there's nothing ever stronger than when a negative is overcome by a positive. When you said, I didn't think I was so it really turned out to be okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. Go ahead, Troy.
John, go ahead, John. Fascinating. Yeah, hey, this and that, everyone here, and extremely good points of negotiation. And I got to say, I really relate to what Larry's been saying in terms of what my role has been with dealerships and the dealers I've worked with. When we've handled communications, mainly for their sales teams, set up a lot of deals for them, and we brought people in by booking appointments into the showroom. And a lot of times, like the fact that we handle those just phone calls with courtesy, professionalism, and I've always trained my team members to build rapport with people. That's what gets them into the showroom. That's what's setting up, the negotiation. So I think what Larry was getting at, or at least in my view, is that there's like a pre-negotiation phase, which is critical, which is like a rapport building phase. Same thing Peter was saying, listen to people, understand where they're coming from, what their wants and needs. But if you put a sales rep on the phone with a customer, what are they going to start doing right away? Negotiate, right? Let's talk interest rates. Let's talk models. Let's talk. And next thing you know, the person's freaking out. They're not even going to come into the showroom for the appraisal or the test drive. So you need to kind of get in there, warm things up, be human, have that human touch. And I just wanted to just throw that out there, guys. And
Boy, that sounds like a Spice Girls song.
In the struggle, there are one cautionary note. You're related to me. Keep in mind, I've been certified mentally unstable in 2 different countries.
Speaking of about, we have a polite person here on the call, Wendy, who's got her hand up.
Yeah.
You comment.
Hey, so yeah, I was looking for the right time to jump in, and John's comments were a perfect segue. So I'll take the BDC tech team end out there. And I will say, guys, it's all about the relationships. It's all about the rapport building. It's all about, for us, in the mind, in a BDC mind, it's the road to the appointment, right? We get them to the threshold. We get them through the doorway. We get them into the sales department and we ensure a smooth transition to the turnover to the sales department, who then worries about the negotiation itself, because we sell appointments and they sell cars. Now, that said, there's different hybrid models, of course. There's internet sales, there's sales and deals to a salesperson, there's BDC who assigns the appointment to a sales manager, and then they decide when the customer walks in the door, which of the present sales staff, because mind you, we're bringing the customer in on their timeline, not on any day but the day off of the salesperson that you assign the appointment to. Because that right away, if you're limiting the time when they can come in, that's a bad step. So point is, we establish rapport. We're the first point of contact for both customers. It's our job to sell the why buy from us, the value proposition. It's our job to gain the trust, because people buy from who they like, know, and trust. And we sell appointments. So we establish rapport. We empathize. We determine what their needs are, and maybe what their wants are together, because we do a series of discovery questions that we want to determine what it is that they're doing. And let's keep in mind also that what is the status? And unchanged for a minimum of 10 years. Only 13% of buyers end up driving off the lot in the car that they initially started looking at. 87% changed their mind for this, that, or the other reason, because the salesperson was good and they closed them on the unit that was, 8th inventory that they had a little extra bonus on it, whatever it is. They come in, and then it goes from the road to the appointment. We got them in the door. Now they start the road to the sale, or they again do a meet and greet and a needs analysis and everything else. So point is if you start the relationship the right way, and it's relationship based, if you establish rapport, gain the trust of the buyer, of the shopper, is you explain and you reiterate the why buy from us, what differentiates you from the dealer with the $200 less invoice price, so they're going to be able to cut you a little bit more on a brand new unit, or that's what it was 10 years ago. Oh, it was hundreds, because they'll chisel you. I shouldn't say words like chisel with a customer. It sounds sneaky, but they will chisel you down as close as they need to or want to. So bottom line to accentuate what John said, I think that if we establish the relationship in the right way, that we're not evasive if they ask for a price, because some are going to ask for a price and we're going to have to give it to them. But if we establish value and a good relationship and everything else, for the most part, we can set up for a great dealership experience, and then the sales team takes over.
Thank
Hey,
you.
wait, when I tell them hold on 1 second, Pete. Wendy, this is important. Tell these folks, what is the name of the show you have on Wednesday?
The human side of AI.
Exactly. And why AI can recreate Shakespeare and put the Beatles back together, they can't empathize. They can't look at you and say, gosh, I know exactly what you mean. That happened to me. How about if we try this?
Okay, so guys, we digress here a little bit. We want to get a little bit back on topic of negotiation. There's some great points there. The thing about all of this, I actually would love to see an AI negotiating program. That would be very, very.
Well, maybe not, Jeff, based on how well the bot at Air Canada negotiated with the customer last week.
On the gun. Those of you that know, check it out. Anyway.
Bradley making a really good point here about what's happening. We're going through a period where there was a negotiation, and frankly, on the used car side of it, what always was back there was that secondary level of used cars that took the place of the new cars. So when new cars were a $40,000 new car, had out of dealer profit that was $50,000. That 2-year-old used car, which would have been $25,000, now becomes $40,000. So people are going from it. What's going to go wrong? Not what could go wrong. What is going to go wrong now that we're moving into a position of negotiation? As I've said, 3 shows in a row here now that Toyota's BZ4X, that's been, people have been saying that's the way it is. And if you want one, I got that green one. Otherwise, you gotta wait. That's 39 of them and 57 coming. What is going to go wrong, Troy? Tell me. Now they got that car here, and people are starting to come in and say, "Well, look at these things in the cold weather, and look at the mining problems, and they're not saving the world and everything else." What's going to go wrong with negotiation is, I think, a lack of acceptance that there's a lot more data out there than is. Customers are walking in with prices from 25 dealerships for same or comparable cars. They're walking in with all the information, sometimes more than the salespeople have. They're walking in with data. If you go back when you started, Jeff, I don't know if the Flintstones cars were the same as you guys were selling them, but it's but when back then, the customer walked in and the price was written in grease pencil across the windshield, and that's the only research they had. And so I think that customers have more information, and that, adding on a bunch of weird packages and stuff is only going to erode the trust. And honestly, I think the only thing that could go wrong is if OEMs and dealers and groups go up and say, we are going to act like this. We are going to price like this. We're going to have an experience like this. And then they don't do it. And I think that is really where the problem is. Saying we're going to take all the fear out of this, because it is scary for people who don't negotiate for a living. I'm going to take the fear out of this. We're going to make it easy. And then they don't make it easy. That's the problem. Because customers have data and they have the ability to spread the word about the negative stuff too.
We had another thought from Jeff Shear. We got a thought from Jeff Shear. I worked at AutoNation when they initially launched one price. It is imperative to set up why we do that for our customers and explain it as an advantage. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, so I'm just going to jump on price, same in there. When Jeff and I and Wendy all started in this business, there was no computers. Our computers for filing cabinets, our cell phones had cords, all that great stuff. So it was all about the relationship. Yes, Jeff had here.
Big Goldilocks? Is that what you had? Big locks?
So having said that, it was all about relationship. Technology brought in speed. Speed brought in data. Data brought in intelligence. And the customers now are online for 17 hours before they'll even visit a dealership. It's 1.2 dealerships visited before purchase. So why is it 0.2? It's because someone didn't give them the experience. They already know what the price is. They already know everything. So again, negotiation plays very little into the purchase of a new car at this time. The only reason why we negotiate on the cars or used cars is because we do not communicate properly with the customer. Very simple. Why are you here, sir? Because you came to us because we presented the best value on the internet. You didn't come here because we were the top price. We presented the best price for value. That's why you're here. We understand that. And we have to take that fear away from our team members and show them why that they're there to present the car. They're presenting the cards that to earn the decision that the car is the right vehicle for that customer. End of story.
Mr. Jeff, I think it was your question time, unless anyone else wants to comment.
Well, no, it's the thing is all this is very true, and we always sort of revert back to the value presentation, etc. What I am seeing out there is people are doing their shopping now, and whereas the negotiation point, because I believe everything's a negotiation, is do you have a car, is now going to what's your price, and the people that are doing this, and again, I will stick on this. I think, you know, Troy, you might have a better idea of this, but the average tenure of a general manager in a store is probably less than 3 years. And if you've got a general manager with 3 years experience, they've only known one thing: no floor plan, no, roll overhead, no interest costs, and people are lining up for whatever they get. And what's happening, I have seen out there, is people sending them, here is my price on this car. And they're leaving out fees. And then the person goes into somewhere and they've been offered that car for free, and it turns out it's not. My opinion that I'm seeing or hearing too is we're quickly going back when we didn't have computers, when we didn't have that. And by the way, Peter, just for the record, when I started selling cars, we negotiated by throwing in the undercoat package that was $9.95. And that was free because it cost us $37.82. And they got $1,000 off the price of the car. So it was on negotiation. But, is anybody else, or is it just me sitting in my little world? Are we seeing a whole bunch of stupidity out there now? And
we absolutely are. And I'll tell you what, let me put it, since we have so many smart people on the show, let me put it in a technical lingo, okay? A negotiation without building value and rapport in some kind of relationship is like sex without foreplay. It ain't going to go as smooth as you'd like it to.
So, Larry, other than your personal life, listen, I want to ask you this question, though. How does somebody build value when somebody sends a lead and says, what is your best price on your Ford Lightning?
Well, you give it to them, and then when they show up, maybe they come in and they switch off of the Ford Lightning. If you're, as Randy says, BDC sell appointments, we sell the cars. And since we all agree they often switch cars, I still think the negotiation is seasoned and channeled through a relationship. People like, hey, Jeff, I swear to God, I'm not making this up. I made Tom. I sold him cars when I sold my storage 12 years ago. I just helped him buy 2 cars this week. He won't make a move unless I help him. I'm not a technical wizard, but he trusts me, and he knows I'm going to beat up the guys a little bit because I always spend any money on them, and he knows it. It still comes back to relationship.
Yeah.
It does.
So how do you do when that person comes in on that Lightning and they get into the store and the salesperson says, geez, you know what? These Lightnings, this guy wants to tow a boat. He ain't going to get, he's not going to get to the lake with that back and with this Lightning. And I got to switch him over to this lovely F-150 Platinum that I have one of. And all of a sudden, that $12,000 discount goes out the window.
I think Larry, you sort of hit the nail on the head a couple times. First of all, as you said, well, they use you because you're going to beat them up a little. Well, we're just talking about negotiation, and the whole point of if we're selling value, we shouldn't have to beat them up a little. If the people that are professional negotiators who sell the dealers are still going in it a little, then this is clearly not going. The problem isn't so much that the negotiation exists. The problem isn't that negotiation exists. It's when the dealers do dumb things like crank in the $1,200 dash cam package that costs them $100, and $999 underfooting package costs them $37. It's we can't expect consumers to accept our value when we're doing dumb stuff that's not priced at value. And if we so you got to get that. The video that they showed before we got on and we heard, it wasn't that they said, listen,
here's an add-on, but here's why it might make sense to you. That's the only way I could sell you the vehicle.
Exactly. Yep. I was in a dealership and every single brand new unit had a brand new $12.99 front and back dash cam on every vehicle. And it was already installed hardwired on every unit. You want to get it on the floor, you're getting a dash cam. And I said, well, I'm here for a pre-owned, but if I were to buy new, can I get the dash cam removed? And they said, oh no, we get them like that. Well, first of all, I work for car dealerships. I know what's going on, and I know that sounds true. So number one, you're already right. Number two, by putting it in there and making it impossible to remove, you're pricing your vehicle differently. And I also know by going on Amazon or Best Buy or anywhere else, I can get that dash cam at a different price. So are you really putting yourself in an advantage trying to juice some extra gross profit, or are you putting yourself at a disadvantage by not only eroding your own trust, but eroding the trust of like the industry? And I know that's a weird public thing to say, but we can't bitch about how hard it is for customers to come in and negotiate and how this could be so much simpler if we sold value, and then shoot ourselves on the foot every time we try to sell a car.
Troy, I have to tell you something. And Wendy, I do see your hand raised. I will get to you. I do have to comment, though. This also comes down to, and Larry, that'll wait before you say something, training. And, this same thing with the video we saw before, that where this person said, AutoCan editor requires that the snow tires go on every car. Canada, for those of you who don't know, is a very large 120 car dealer group in Canada now in the States. And they do not. And as soon as they contacted the corporate people said, we blah, 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 blah. And the thing is, same thing with the training there and the training here. They come that way. Sir, the correct way is, sir, all of our vehicles in stock, you right now at the moment have these cameras because we have found that X percentage of people are buying the cameras and they're installed as a way to lower the cost. Because of the labor cost due to the high tech on the vehicle, that would have been $18.99 if we did it individually. Now, if you would like one without, I can see what I can do, but I can't promise you. Tell me I'm wrong, Larry.
And it's maybe you have other kids in the neighborhood. Again, the answer is always, well, do whatever you want. You're the customer. But let me explain to you what the value is and why the feature advantage benefit has a benefit for you. The answer is never, this is the way it is. If you don't like it, hit the road. Well, that doesn't piss you off. These are the same morons that don't understand the value of a customer over their lifetime. It's huge.
Yeah.
If I can piggyback off of what both of the guys just said now, it's about like when you talk about whether it's whatever camera you're talking about, or years ago somebody asked if there's a trailer tow package on a truck or whatever, and there wasn't, and the customer's going to say, yeah, there is, simply because they know that they can put one on aftermarket. But then it turns out the customer has needs to tow a certain number of pounds, and it has to have the factory installed with the transcooler, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It has to be something like on aftermarket.
And how many times did somebody say, does it have a tow package? And they don't say, oh, is a tow package important to you? No, I was just curious.
The point being, we have to be sure that we're giving the customer the idea of the showroom visit, and that we're not doing a bait and switch, that the business and the relationship and the experience is manifested in person the same way we described it online, on the phone, via email, however, by whomever. And we have to, even the price thing, Mr. Customer, if they saw it cheaper, then it's the obvious. It's, well, Mr. Customer, our price is very competitively. I guarantee you, if you've seen something in a comparable model within a couple hundred miles of our dealership, it's because it has less equipment or more miles on it in the case of a new, or even less equipment in a new model. Mr. Customer, your presence is your leverage. Let's do that. Let's bring it into the dealership. We'll schedule an information day visit, 30 to 45 minutes. We'll go over all your options and vehicles and financing and everything. And within 30 to 45 minutes of your arrival, we'll give you everything you need to make an educated buying decision. Then you're putting the power back in their hands as well, and they don't feel as though you're trying to force them to buy something they don't want. Because then again, they come to the showroom and your presence is your leverage with negotiation. There's not typically a lot of wiggle room, but you know what? Your presence is your leverage.
come on in. First of all, let's make sure it's the right vehicle for you. And then we'll do everything we can to show you the value of all the options we're showing you, and you can make your own decision. And I guarantee you, we won't lose your business over price. That's a safe statement.
I'll stop you right there. I'll stop you right there in that when you're selling the extra value to offset the price, that's exactly correct. Everything you're saying is right. Where it changes is, for example, if you look at the dealers in the US that had the market adjustments when they were just adding it 20 grand because that's what the market would dictate. There's no extra value there. It's just if you want it, you're going to pay more for it and take it or leave it. I have a dealer, and again, my customers are car dealers in the Alberta market who wants our company to pay their $75,000 AMVIC fine, which is the local dealer
registration fee.
Yeah. And the reason they want us to pay it is because our system presented the forms that were too transparent that disclosed that they wanted to put in a market adjustment on the MSRP, which isn't legal in Alberta, because they just felt that their cars were in demand and they wanted to do it. And because our system wouldn't enable it, they wanted us to pay the fine. Well, that's a dealer who's just grabbing gross profit. And the problem with everything we're saying, we're all talking about how to do it all the right, how to do it exactly the way it helps the consumers, it helps the dealers. We're all happy singing from my holding it. But if there's 1 in 20 dealers is going to go and try to cram on a bunch of stuff and say you can't take it off, cram on a $10, $20, $90,000 like that Corvette in the US market adjustment, well, that is going to stop whatever forward progress that we're making as an industry to get more honesty, more integrity, more trust from our customers. Because every time we do something stupid, it's 1 step forward and 3 steps back. And the second that we trip up, all the customers go, every dealer's the same, every car company's the same, we're back to square one. The walls go up, and it's no longer a friendly negotiation, it's adversarial.
100%. Ever hears about the dealer. If you don't very often see except at Christmas and maybe Valentine's Day and Easter, the dealer that actually does very good things for the community. You know, the one that shows up to Children's Hospital with a van load of toys for kids in the various different sickness wings, that does it in a blind van and takes it in through the back door. Nobody hears of that. Nobody else. At Christmas time, you see the giant, I was part of that, the giant toy mountain where we showed up in a cavalcade of 10 vehicles and it was on TV and it was everything else. But we always hear about the bad things. You do a bad thing, a really obvious thing, you're gonna get caught because you're in the day of a cell phone.
Yep.
And holy cow. Every time you see something bad, I saw a motorcyclist in a tree here a couple of years ago. It was bad. And there were 70 people there. 50 of them had their phone up. Can you imagine that? We get our phones out to videotape the bad stuff. And every time, and I think somebody's going to start realizing this, we're not talking negotiation here. We're off track, which we shouldn't be. But boy, oh boy, all these silly things that we pull, somebody's watching. And with AI, to the deference to Larry and Wendy, it's going to get more. Somebody's going to hack into your security video. And eat like suckers, and it's got the little microphone sitting in the pen cup there. Lex, we're running out of time here, but let's put this back to our guests. A short answer: is negotiation a necessity in a car deal? And let's start with Peter. And I'll either create negotiation in its broad terms.
No. And it's all in the presentation of how you bring value to your customer. It'll eliminate negotiation moving forward.
I want a line green 2-wheel drive F-150 super cab. Oh my God.
I don't even know what you want.
The V6. Is negotiation necessary?
How long you want to wait?
No, Chris, I'm here to supply you exactly what you want. The understanding is that it will take time to get your exact model, but I'll do it for you.
Okay, terrific. Is that negotiation?
Nope.
Okay,
That's providing a service. I'm not negotiating. And if you turn around and said to me, I want it, what's it? Edit. 2 weeks. Then I wanted to say, hey, I want to take delivery today.
I'm kidding. Well, if you're still there.
I think negotiation is dependent upon the situation and the customer. To say that it's not going to be useful in the future is short-sighted and I believe incorrect. Depends on the customer and the situation.
Larry, I got a comment. I got a comment on Larry from Jeff. Larry, start with, we'll do whatever we want. That statement alone gives you a chance to talk further instead of putting your fist up. From face to Jeff. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Troy, is negotiation a necessity?
I want to say no. I'd like to say no based on what everyone else is saying. In a perfect world, it would be no. Peter has been nailing that value on the head the whole time. I think there's always going to be some element of a price variance if you're buying 10 commercial vans or 100 vehicles out of from the factory. There should be a better price for you. But I would like to think we get to a place where people are going to gravitate towards the model of one price. That's what a successful Genesis is successful. The whole inventory situation has proven that people are willing to pay list price. But we just have to make sure that as an industry, we're all united on it. And I'd like to think it's not necessary. It is for now, but hopefully in the future.
Well, I have to end my part of it, and I'll turn it over to Ian. That's a good point. I do like what Larry had to say. And my take on it like this is the best defense is a good offense. And if you are able to pivot to somebody who negotiates, if you're trained, if you are focused, if you have that commitment to providing a good customer experience, and somebody wants to negotiate, you're not providing good experience by saying no. And you have to be able to deal with them, and you have to be able to have the skills in which to deal with a proper negotiation situation. I don't mean negotiate necessarily. I mean deal with that. Negotiate how to avoid negotiation. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ian. Ian, thank you, everybody.
Yeah. I think it's really about, getting ahead of that conversation. I mean, I think what you need to do as a salesperson, a manager, a dealer is say, listen, let's set up a process to have that negotiation or that pre-negotiation, much like happens in Las Vegas, where some of the locations say, hey, this is what you're getting for your hot dog fee at your resort. And I think if you can do that, you're definitely ahead of the game. If you don't do that, we got a problem. Yeah, if you don't do that, you're going to have a problem. But even if you do that and you eventually end up negotiating, you're setting yourself up for success in a much better way, in my opinion. Larry, you had a final thought?
Nope. I just think that more important than ever, we got to get our people back to basics. We got to get them back to thinking right, understanding the importance of a customer, and practicing communication every day.
Fantastic.
The final thought for you is don't end up in a strange place in your strange rental car.
Okay. Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Thanks very much, everyone. Have yourself a great week. We're out.
After I